this is why we were talking earlier in the show about Britney Spears and why aren't there cameras inside, or why weren't there cameras inside the Britney Spears conservatorship trial? And I think that maybe the reason for that is because of how insane this Kyle Rittenhouse trial has become. Just the absurdity of everything that's going on. Nobody's thinking about whether or not crimes were committed anymore. Nobody's thinking about the families that have lost loved ones. Nobody's thinking about any of it because this whole thing has become an insane circus. You know, I always wondered when I was a kid, I was watching OJ. I was watching the OJ trial. And my mom would walk around the house and she'd go, that OJ is guilty as sin. I don't know. I probably walk around my house right now. I haven't asked my mom about it. Maybe I'll head over to my parents' house tomorrow and go, Mom, what do you think of this Rittenhouse kid? I think he is guilty as sin. That's what she said that so much. I mean, 95. OJ is guilty as sin. But that thing became an absolute circus. But I wondered to myself, like, why wouldn't they put OJ on the stand? I thought to myself, well, if you didn't do it, why don't you give somebody the chance? Like, I mean, what could be more compelling than a person saying, I'm just a human being who didn't do it? Now, in the case of Kyle Rittenhouse, I think, and again, I am not an expert on this case, okay? I have seen the wacky shit that has happened in this courtroom, but I am no expert on this case. My understanding is that, and I remember when it happened, obviously, during the protests in Kenosha, this young man rolls across state lines carrying a firearm. All these backyard saviors, these fucking grown-ass hall monitors, these people who trade in their hall monitor sashes for firearms, these neighborhood watch detectives, all of them are assholes. Like, that whole attitude, that whole mystique about you, I mean, it's so Paul Blart. I always wanted to be a cop, but couldn't get it done. Do you know why we respect cops so much? Because they're actually doing what you want to do. What is the difference between the stolen valor jerks that walk around with fake military uniforms and fake little badges and stuff on them because they so desperately want to be the heroes that actually are real soldiers? What's the difference between that and the dillweeds that walk around like they're there to protect and serve, even though they are not police officers, have no police officer training, but just think that they were put here on this planet to make a difference? Well, I'm gonna show up there with a firearm to make sure that people who can't protect themselves are protected. We got cops for that. Okay? We're good. So already, like, just the fact that he showed up there with that attitude is annoying, is bothersome to me. Like, what are you going to do? What do you think's going to happen? Here's exactly what's going to happen. People are going to lose their lives. Probably for no reason. Because you thought you were protecting. So clearly what happened, I mean, why do they call it the loaded gun rule? In a movie, you show up with a loaded gun in Act 1, and by Act 3, that bad boy's getting fired, okay? He shows up to the protest with a gun. He ends up shooting 3 people. 2 of them end up dead. Now he's on trial for murder. He's claiming self-defense. So there we go. Like, and good. There should be a trial determining whether someone is a murderer or acted in self-defense. That's fine. Doesn't change the fact that he's a jerk-off for showing up there with a gun because he wanted to. But I think the punishment for murder and being a jerk-off are 2 separate things. And if I'm a juror, I'm trying to be impartial. That's what I'm trying to figure out. And I would ask the judge, could I mention this when we announce the verdict? That regardless of verdict, we do feel this way about him. So I go, if somebody's innocent, why not put him on the stand? Well, here's why. This is what happens when we put young Kyle Rittenhouse on the stand to explain that, again, this is the voice of the hero that showed up to the protest with the gun to protect people.
Once I take that step back, I look over my shoulder and Mr. Rosenbaum was now running from my right side. And I was cornered from in front of me with Mr. Zeminski. And there were...
Okay. All right. There it was. Okay, so he feels the tears coming, right? Because he's really starting to figure out, like, holy shit, I could go to jail for murder on this. Like, regardless of he's like, the gravity of the situation hits him, right? And he feels it right up here. He feels those tears coming. And you can see as soon as he squints, he makes the decision, like, let's let these tears fly. Let's let them go. He feels it. Boom, there it was.
There were 3 people right there.
He's letting him go.
Take a deep breath, Kyle.
That's what I...
There really is a fine line between, like, oh man, there's something going on with this guy, and Jesus Christ, what the hell is going on with this guy? Like,
that's where I run.
like this is like that cry. This is why you don't put people on the stand to defend themselves. Because regardless of what happened, that cry is very, holy shit, what did I just do? Cry. That's like, that's the wild thing about the jury trials, is that they will go like, yeah, but did you see the way he cried? It's a big deal. Uberco says, is he trying to hold back a sneeze? Maybe that's what he was doing. He's trying to hold back a sneeze and he started crying because he had to sneeze so bad.
We're going to just take time for our break anyway. You can just relax for a minute, sir. We're going to take a...
Relax. Look how far away. Oh, there's the clean. I thought that these were the Kleenex. I see he's got a red, white, and blue American Kleenex next to him. Good. Just in case. He's got to check over. See the stars and the stripes there are looking back at him even on the Kleenex box. That's got to make him feel better. I thought that blue box was as close as he was getting to those Kleenex. I was like, yeah, that's not going to make him feel any better.
Take a break, about 10 minutes, and please don't talk about the case during the break. Read, watch, or listen to it.
How the hell do you not talk about the case during the break? Why even bother saying that? We just watched a guy fall apart in front of us. What do you think we're going to talk about during the break? Can you imagine that happens right in front of your face? You're on the jury. You get a 10-minute break, and what are you going to do? One guy pipes in and goes like, man, it's just been a bad season for the Jets, huh? When are they going to stop sucking? Stop sucking? What about that kid who just lost his mind on the stand? Oh, we're not supposed to talk about that, I thought. I thought we were going to talk about the Jets. Craig Brockway says no tears. LeBron James pointed that out too. King James over here on Twitter getting people all worked up, saying, I didn't see any tears. I didn't see any tears. Prove to me you're sad. I didn't see any tears. I don't know, man. I don't know. But to me, the celebrity of this case is the judge. There's no doubt that this judge, I mean, and there's something about these judges. I think they know, too. They know when they got a high-profile case, they got to turn it on. They got to be something like Judge Ito. Judge Ito became a household name. He wrote a book. For a period of time, Judge Ito was the man. Judge Wapner. Everybody loved Judge Wapner. Who is the highest paid person in TV? Judge Judy. Yes, Judge Judy. I have no idea Judge Schroeder. Rick Schroeder from Silver Spoons is the judge in this case. Judge Schroeder's putting on a show for all of us. He's embarrassing himself a little bit. I have to admit that. He is embarrassing himself a little bit. But this was a moment in the case when I guess Judge Schroeder had made it clear, don't bring this shit up. And the prosecutor was like, fuck it, I'm going to bring this shit up. And Judge Schroeder was like, not in my courtroom, you're not. And basically turned the whole thing into the Schroeder show.
Using it to protect property, correct?
Yes.
And you'd agree with me that you're not allowed to use deadly force to...
Okay, Frank brings up a good one. Who is the most important part of Fast Times at Ridgemont High? Judge Reinhold. Sylvester Stallone. Who is his most beloved role that Sylvester Stallone has ever played? Yes, Judge Dredd. Even Judd Nelson, because it's close enough, is very beloved. Very close. Mills Lane, the boxing referee. Nobody gave 2 squirts about Mills Lane. Let's get it on. Everybody was like, shut up, Mills Lane. Hey, let's get it on. Shut up. Then he gets his own little TV show. He becomes Judge Mills Lane. Everybody goes, that's my guy. It's true. It's very true. Blackjack Thompson says Rittenhouse needs a Kato Kalin. Yeah. I haven't had, there hasn't been any breakout stars like Kato Kalin. Kato Kalin, became a celebrity's celebrity after the OJ trial.
To protect property.
But watch this. This prosecutor doesn't know what hit him. He kind of looks like the fact that the prosecution is getting raked over the coals, if that's the expression, I guess they're not doing a very good job. That's what I'm reading. I don't know if I'm reading the right places. I don't know what my algorithms are throwing in my direction. But they say the prosecution's not that good. They say the judge might be biased and the prosecution is not that good. Those are the things that I read. But this prosecutor, he looks kind of like a jerk as well. You know what I mean? He's not like... If I was at a social gathering, he and his plaid tie would not be the direction I'd be going towards.
Correct?
Yes.
But yet you have previously indicated that you wished you had your AR-15 to protect someone's property, correct?
I'm going to...
You know what my favorite thing in all of the law is, in the law of the land in these United States? I'll tell you right now. Let me see if I can get the perfect screen grab of it.
15 to protect someone's property, correct?
This, right there. That guy. Right there. The defense. The look of just ghastly. This is what a professional this defense attorney is. He knows his role. He's like method acting. Look at the look of outrage immediately. This dude just asked that question. And the defense attorney is like, you can't ask that question. What? Immediately. He is pissed. Look at the audience. Nobody knows anything bad just happened. This guy's like, I'm just watching this thing. This guy's listening to Wiz Khalifa over here. This girl's listening to Wiz as well. This guy's over here just thinking about when lunch is. He don't know what's going on. This guy, look at outrage on his face. Look how his face does not match any of the other faces. Why? Because he knows that this guy and his plaid tie just broke the rules. You said you weren't going to talk about that. You're not supposed to talk about that. Yeah, well, I just talked about it. Well, let me tell you something. The judge, we can't see his face, but he knows. He said, don't worry. Don't you worry. He patted him on the head like this. Don't you worry your pretty little head. You're right. He's not supposed to be talking about that. And he gave him what? He gave this prosecutor what for?
I'm going to...
Kyle Rittenhouse is over there looking at him like, you guys want me to cry again? I can cry again. Like that. Moment's notice. I can do that every day if you want me. No, Kyle, we're fine. We'll take care of this. He's like, I can cry. He's almost smiling because he knows. It does have to feel good, when you're on trial, whether you're guilty or not, you don't want to get found guilty. And so, like, you know, seeing the prosecutor get yelled at by the judge, that's got to be kind of awesome. If you're on the stand, that's got to feel good.
I'm going to ask you to go into the library again for a moment, please. Please don't talk about the case.
Oh, definitely not. Definitely not. They're totally not going to talk about the case. You see how pissed the defense got? No, they're not going to talk about that. Hey, so these Jets, stop bringing up the Jets. Crazy shit's going on in that other room. I know, but I thought we weren't supposed to talk about it. Oh, the judge's pissed. He's waiting for the jury to leave. He's waiting for the jury to leave just so he can tell this lawyer what he really thinks of him. The lawyer's like, look, I was just trying to give some evidence for his motive. The judge is like, I was just trying to wait for you to shut the hell up.
Mr. Richards?
Oh, boy, here we go. Here we go.
He's either forgetting the court's rulings or attempting to provoke a mistrial in this matter.
Look at this guy.
He knows he can't go into this.
He knows.
He's asking the questions. I asked the court to strongly admonish him, and the next...
Strongly admonish him. Your Honor, you know what that means? You know what the phrase, I asked the court to strongly admonish him. That's a grown-ass man saying, Judge, will you please yell at him? Judge, will you please wag your finger at him and say, bad? Judge, I ask that you roll up your newspaper and bat him on the nose and say, the next time, no dinner.
The next time it happens, I'll be asking for a mistrial with prejudice. He's an
And the defense now has that energy of like, I know the judge is on my side and I know I'm right. So I'm going to lay it on nice and thick. He is slathering it on. He's like this, like he's really sitting there acting like, look, if we're going to let this slide, I don't even think this is America anymore. And the judge with his American tissue box is like, you're making a great point right now. You make a terrific point. And then this guy in his plaid tie, he's looking through his papers. Nothing in those papers, by the way. Nothing in those papers. The defense attorney is just laying it on, brick thick. I mean, thick, going like, I think that here's what you should do, Judge. If I'm the judge, I would go, I think both of you should shut the hell up. You don't tell me how to do my job, Mr. Defense Guy. And you, Mr. Prosecutor, you got some balls coming in here and asking this guy about his motives. Prosecutor's over there going through his papers like, I know there's something in here somewhere. There's nothing in there. That's like when the teacher asks for your book report and you turn over the same piece of paper 4 times. You ain't going to find that book report because you didn't write it.
Mr. Finger?
Give it a
First of all,
second.
Your Honor, this was the session. I'm well aware of that.
Ooh, a
And
little
the
attitude.
court left the door open.
For me, not for you.
My understanding of
You should have come and asked for reconsideration. You did on the...
Wouldn't this be considered like toxic workplace? Like, you can't do this, and these are adults talking to each other. Why in the court can you still do like this? Why in the court can you still go, for me, not for you? I'm the boss.
One motion, and in fact, I granted your motion for reconsideration.
That was not our motion.
Excuse me. I did. I granted.
We did not move
That
to
was
reconsider.
their motion.
Oh, boy.
We have not filed
Forgive
any
me.
motions to reconsider
Forgive
in this
me.
case.
That was their motion for reconsideration, which I denied. But
Irregardless.
I denied it, or I indicated a bias towards denial. Held it open with a bias towards denial. Why would you think that made it okay for you without any advance notice?
Man, I don't care if he's a judge or not. If I'm a grown-ass man that went through law school, I don't need some other grown-ass man looking at me like I'm a total idiot. That's what that face says. I don't know why you would think that. Why do you think it'd be okay? Like, the judges say you are a total moron. I'm not going to put up with that by some guy in a robe.
Notice to bring this matter before the jury. I was astonished when you began your examination by commenting on the defendant's post-arrest silence. That's basic law.
It's been
basic law in this country for 40 years, 50 years. I have no idea why you would do something like that. And it
outrageous.
gives,
Outrageous.
Well,
Oh, yeah. I mean, you got to understand. They just showed the defense attorney for a second. His hand is under his desk. If you pick up what I'm putting down, he is in paradise right now.
Leave it at that. So I don't know what you're up to.
I don't know what you're up to. Tricks in the
We filed
courtroom.
another X motion on this exact issue because, in my mind, and I argued
This guy better quit while he's ahead.
identical to what was going on the night of August 25th, in the sense that the defendant was using this exact same weapon. He was using it in a manner.
All right, look, I can't listen to these guys argue all day because this is, to me, the single best thing that's ever come out of this whole trial so far. There's a whole thing, right, where, well, I guess I'll play this clip first because there's footage of the attack happening. There's footage of what is on trial for murder happening. The killing happening is on video. Except it's on this video that I guess was taken via an iPad, and it's a very, very wide shot. So the argument is, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take the video, and we're going to zoom it in. So that way you can see what's going on the video. You know, the same way like they enhance video all the time. You know, how many movies have you seen that in? When they have the security cams and they go like zoom, zoom, enhance, and all of a sudden it goes from blurry to not blurry anymore, and you see it's Matt Damon in a baseball cap, and then he's got to go and delete all the footage and everything before anybody else gets to the station. So that's probably what they think they're going to do. They're going to use their little fingers, they're going to pinch it, and they're going to pinch out so they can zoom way in and show the world what's really going on. Well, the defense was like, no. And this is a thing that happens in court all the time. I feel like, lawyers will just argue anything. Anything that there might be a little opening for, lawyers will argue it. And I guess that's their job, right? So that's what the defense guy does.
I don't know what the state's going to do next, but I suspect that it's something along the lines of they're going to use the iPad, and Mr. Binger was talking about pinching the screen. iPads, which are made by Apple, have artificial intelligence in them that allow things to be viewed through 3 dimensions and logarithms.
What? They got 3D iPads now?
Logarithms? I don't know.
Logarithms? Yeah, logarithms. I don't know if that's the stenographer saying what.
Logarithms? I don't understand it all either.
Then what are you arguing? I don't get it. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Artificial intelligence or their logarithms,
right,
to create what they believe is happening. So this isn't actually enhanced video.
Oh.
This is Apple's iPad programming creating what it thinks is there, not what necessarily is there. And I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't either. You bring up a good point. I mean, there's a good possibility that Tim Cook is out there in Palo Alto, and he's like, how do we make these iPads make people look more like murderers? Is there anything we can do to make them look more like murderers? Only when you pinch. We do have some logarithms that allow for you to 3D make it look like people are murderers when you pinch it, and they go, oh, okay. If I'm the judge in that case, I go, hey, buddy, the hell are you talking about? And the guy's like, logarithms, I don't understand. And he's like, okay, well, if you don't know what the hell you're talking about, and I don't know what the hell you're talking about, maybe there's a chance here that you're not talking about anything at all. So I'm going to go ahead and ignore everything that you just said. And I'm going to consider everybody here dumber for hearing it. But that's not what the judge said. The judge said, you bring up a great point. The judge goes, you bring up a great point. And he goes, we're going to watch this video in 20 minutes. And he tells the prosecution, if you could find an expert witness within the next 20 minutes to explain that there's no chicanery with the zoom in function on this iPad, I'll allow it. If not, we're going to watch a zoomed out version. And so, no, in 20 minutes, the prosecution did not find a proper expert witness that could testify to the chicanery of the zoom in function of iPad video. So the judge said, we won't be zooming in today. Then, this is the greatest thing ever. This is a judge. This is one of the most esteemed positions in all of our great United States of America. This old man, who somebody did in the chat, pointed out, sounded like he was shaking his fist and telling the prosecutor to get off his lawn a minute ago. This is him justifying what he had earlier stated about not allowing the zoom in function because of iPads, important. It was specifically said, which is made by Apple, Apple's artificial intelligence. This is the judge explaining why he was right to ask for an expert witness to come in, because it is the prosecution's burden of proof to prove that there's no weirdness going on.
When I get messages from some of my friends, my few remaining friends, they come as texts.
By the way, already, it's so weird to me when it's like this is a murder trial. It's like a young person and a murder trial. That means the families of the victims are in the courtroom, and the family of the person on trial for murder, and the person on trial for murder. This might not be the greatest time in the world for the self-deprecating quips. Maybe now isn't the best time to go, few friends I have left. Sorry, Judge. Didn't hear about your friends.
And then they start belittling me or whatever in one way or another, and it can be quite lengthy, the exchange that's going on between them and us, but they're entertaining, and so I don't know how to save text messages. I haven't figured that out, and I have a lot of things that I'm doing, so that's a low priority for me to figure out.
I love that. He's like, a lot of people, I don't know how to save text messages. A lot of people think that makes me an idiot. In reality, I'm just so damn busy. I got so much going on. I'm so important that I can't figure out how to save a text message. That's how important I am. Judge, I didn't realize. I mean, I knew you were important. I didn't realize you were that important.
Figure out how to save a text message, and I don't want to leave them on my phone forever. I want it off so that it's clean, so when I look at it, I'm looking just at the fresh stuff. So then
What kind of psycho goes through deleting text message conversations? This is, like, I understand that it's a different thing. But if you're sitting there, right, and you're like, this is the judge. This is the guy who's in charge of the courtroom. He is clearly saying, to me, what it sounds like to me is that Your Honor deletes his text message conversations because he can't tell what's read and unread on his phone. If you can't tell what's read and unread on your phone, you should not be driving a car, let alone be a judge in the United States of America. That's a minimum. That's not like, oh, I wasn't raised with the technology, so I don't know everything. Knowing what texts are read and unread and keeping up with text conversations, there's a lot of very complex conversations that happen within a courtroom, right? You have to have a sharp brain to really know everything that's happening inside that courtroom. And you don't know which conversation you're reading on your phone to the point that you have to delete what it keeps going.
So that it's clean, so when I look at it, I'm looking just at the fresh stuff. So then I do a screenshot of it, and I email it to myself to save it. But I found, to my distress, that some of them are pretty long. And
So, old man judge over here. First of all, this is the beauty of it, right? I had to read about it because I was like, what the hell is that? He is clearly using an Android phone. Android phone. The argument that the attorney made was that Apple's artificial intelligence would make the zoom in function unreliable because we don't know what Apple has put into that artificial intelligence. He is demonstrating the zoom in function on an Android. Already, we're at the point now where this has absolutely no bearing on the asinine conversation that happened before this. Because what would the zoom in function on an Android have to do with Apple's artificial intelligence that also makes no sense? Samsung has something, I believe, I read about this, called scroll capture, right? So by mistake, by accident, he was trying to take pictures of his text conversations because, of course, he has no time to learn how to save a text conversation. And instead, this creep screen grabs all of his texts. He doesn't want them in his text app. So he screen grabs all of his texts. But by mistake, scroll captures and has one image that's the size of the screen that's the entire text chain. This man is a fool.
They show up in my email like this, like a little ribbon.
He emails his texts to himself to save them. He screen grabs his text conversations and emails them to himself. Do you have any idea how long that process must be? The arduous task it is every weekend to sit down in his stupid judge's chamber and screen grab text messages and email them to himself. It's insane.
Down the center of the page, some of them are even smaller than this. Well, then I go to open them up.
He's pinching.
And it's just a blur.
Okay. He's showing that he zooms in so he can see, because he sees the long text scroll. And then he zooms in so he can see the individual text like a normal person would. And he's saying now it's very pixelated. He says blurry. I think he means pixelated.
You were talking the other day, one of you two, about it's just like a cell phone where you can expand a picture and make it bigger. Well, it's not making it any bigger. It's making it bigger, but it's nothing but a blur. That was my concern that I wanted to ask Mr. Armstrong.
It's making it a blur. You know what that would lead me to believe? That the artificial intelligence that Apple has put in your Android does nothing. Because it's blurry. Because it's pixelated. Because you zoom in and all that's happened is that it's zoomed in. Nothing has corrected it. Nothing has done anything. What you've done is you've proven on a non-Apple product that there is absolutely no artificial intelligence. You have proven the exact opposite of the argument that the defense attorney was making on a product that is the opposite of what the defense attorney was talking about. Why, Your Honor, do you waste our time with this? This is what I'd be thinking. Oh my God, if I was this prosecutor that just had to have this man talk to me like I was an idiot, and I've got to sit here and listen to him talk about something that makes no sense and has no bearing on this. He was sitting there talking to his wife at home going, oh, this is just what we were talking about in the courtroom. And his wife was like, that's nice, honey. And he goes into the courtroom and he goes, this is the same thing we were talking about. And every person that's under 70 years old goes, that's not even sort of what you were talking about, Judge. It's the opposite of what you were talking about.
Mr. Armstrong about, and I guess I should have, for him to explain it better for me as to how that can be reliable. Because it isn't reliable for me in getting my messages on my phone.
Because it isn't reliable for him getting his messages on his phone. He is wasting the court's time by saying, can one of the lawyers please tell me how can I get my text messages? How about just leave them on your phone? Just leave them. You scroll through them. That's where the saved text messages. First of all, saving a text message is easier than taking a photo of the individual screens and emailing them to yourselves. That's the most psychotic behavior I've ever heard of in my life. I'd like to hear the response. Because now I believe he's asking the defense attorney who likes the judge because the judge was on his side.
Now, maybe if I reset it to a site, I could explode it again and
he's like, okay. He said, maybe if I reset it. And he realized that when he said the word reset, for a second, I believe that he was proud of himself because he goes, reset. That's a computer word. But as soon as he thought that, he realized he was in way over his head. How can you be a judge and not know how to use your phone? I don't need you to know how to program. I don't even need you to know how to work Facebook. Facebook's gotten very, very complicated. It's tough. If you don't know the ins and outs of Twitter, that's fine. But if you cannot use your phone to communicate, if I am the president, I guess the president wouldn't have control of judges. That would be kind of like a monarchy. That would be, that would be a dictatorship. Man, I don't know who's in charge. If I'm in the Supreme Court and I see some judges under me at the city, state, federal, I guess federal level would, look, whoever's in charge of these judges, somebody's got to be in charge of these judges. Obviously, I wasn't paying attention in social studies class. But whoever is in charge of these judges has got to be sitting there saying, if you are emailing screen grabs of text conversations to yourself because you think that is the best way to save a text conversation, we've got to take your gavel away. We have to. And your driver's license. I don't trust this guy on the road. No wonder he talks down to people in there. No wonder. Because his kids must look at him like a goddamn fool. You know, there was a time in my own father's life when he was pretty high up person at companies that he worked for. You know what I mean? He had people under him. He was a boss. He would boss people around. He would tell people what to do. And then when me and my brother and my sister were growing up, he would tell us what to do and we would have to listen. We grew up old school. Wait till your father gets home. And when he laid down the law, we listened. Now he's at a stage in his life when he calls on FaceTime audio by mistake because he doesn't know the difference between phone and FaceTime audio. Okay? That's where he's at. And you know what? I'm sure it's embarrassing for him because he remembers when he was the dude. I can only imagine having to deal with the duality of it. At least in my dad's case, he's like, you know what? This is a sign. I'm not the dude anymore. Maybe I can just chill out a little bit. This judge still wants people to think that he is the guy, but also sends pictures of his text messages to himself for his records. Actually, I don't think you said that in the text. Let me go through my emails and find it. No, you go through your text, you mean? No. My emails. I send them as attachments to myself. Although he probably doesn't save them in his email because he's probably weird OCD, he has to delete all his emails. So I'm sure he just downloads them and puts them on a thumb drive or something, but I doubt he knows how to work a thumb drive. I don't know what the hell this guy's doing.
Now, maybe if I reset it to a site, I could explode it again or decrease its size again, and I don't know. But here you've got a picture, which I have to tell you, I think it's very blurry.
I agree. And the picture is one of 5 or 6 pieces of evidence. So,
it looks like it's the prosecution that he's talking to. He's like, hey, bro, looks blurry, so I was right, I guess, right? Just tell me I was right. The guy's like, what are you talking about? He's trying to be polite. He knows he's already in Dutch.
The defense wants to focus on this picture, but the picture is only one. We have 3 videos, one unedited, completely untouched drone video, which I think is where you see it clearest. And then we have one that is zoomed in, and we have one that is slowed down. I believe the clearest shot is actually the original drone video. So we can present that evidence, and they can rebut it. I think you're taking the picture wrong on your phone. I'm not tech support.
Pardon me?
I think you're taking the picture wrong on your phone.
Oh, he's got him. I think you might be taking the picture. You might be. Could it be that you're a fool?
Is that it?
I think so.
You think I'm taking the picture wrong, huh? I don't think so. And then, of course, the The judge knows how to work his phone enough to put on a sweet
To
ringtone.
the extent that if there's no
Take that guy's phone away. God damn it. The judge of a court. He doesn't know how to save his text messages, and he doesn't know how to get through a court case without Lee Greenwood playing. It's insane.